So guys, we got to talk about deliveries, insurance registrations, and also debunk the latest Onvo scandal happening here in China. Tell you guys what the truth is going on with this scandal. And also I'm going to share with you some funny clips that's really going to entertain you guys. So stay tuned for this video. Hit that like button, man. So first of all, insurance registrations, 1,900 plus 900 for Onvo. Better than last week, the week before, which we only got 1,100 plus 370. So we are recovering, and gradually everybody's coming back to work from Chinese New Year, and hopefully next week numbers are going to improve. But clearly these are still fairly low numbers, and we are really expecting the numbers for March to be fantastic, especially for Onvo. We're expecting 20,000 per month. That's what the CEO promised. So, there's still some ways to go before we can reach that. Now, on the list, NIO has dropped to number 10 spot, but that's okay because we're gonna say that it's Chinese New Year. But you can see Expo and those other guys, they're at the top of the list, and but of course, we're still waiting for the 2025 version. And you've heard me talk about that enough, so I'm not going to go into that. But I want you guys to watch this clip right here. This is entertaining. Check it out.
Let's take a fresh look at this top-tier SUV under 5 million. Judging by its stance, this must be the latest snow mode. Very professional. In skiing, it's called exit braking. It increases ground friction to shorten stopping distance. Got it? Also, the rear wheel posture indicates it has a rear wheel steering function. Mind you, this feature costs a fortune on Mercedes-Benz vehicles. Some prefer fancy wheels, but that's ignorant. Ever heard of wheel ejection for safety? In a crash, wheels detach to prevent cabin intrusion, maximizing occupant safety. Can't stress enough, car safety is paramount. Few prioritize it like this one does.
So which car brand that is, I'm not going to talk about that. And, you guys know which car brand that is. Is it the new snow mode or is it some quality thing? You be the judge, all right? And I did not create this video. This was created here by someone else in China. And I just, shared it with you guys and give you guys a good laugh, right? New snow mode with the skiing posture. Yeah, very, very interesting. So now let's move on to the Onvo scandal. So this, again, I didn't come up with this. I'm not the one creating this. It is reported here in China by Dcar. Dcar reported this, and it actually shows the truth about this. And you can tell that this is indeed an Onvo car, and the owner is disgruntled and very disappointed. And what's the whole situation with this whole protest thing? So apparently this was owned by an Onvo sales rep, and what happened was that in order to promote the car and due to sort of, he claims, interior pressure. So he said that in January there was interior pressure from the higher ups for employees to buy the car. And of course they have incentives and that kind of stuff for employees to incentivize them to buy the car, buy an Onvo, but nobody's forcing their employees to buy an Onvo, okay? So he claims that he's sort of coerced into buying an Onvo, and he kind of capitulated and bought the car, right? He bought the car, and he obviously got it for a very cheap price, and so he got the employee discount. But what ended up happening was the sales rep claims that in order to get some more traffic and more people to test drive the car, he put the car on Xianyu, which is sort of like eBay, to sort of get more attention, get more public attention so that people can come and test drive this car. But he claimed that he didn't have any real intent of actually selling the car or transferring ownership. So he did that in order to get more publicity, get more flow. And oh, I forgot to mention, he bought the car, when he bought the Onvo, he said it was due to pressure. Oh, it was also due to pressure for sales and KPI metrics. Like you have to meet a certain number of sales in order to get your bonuses and that kind of stuff. So he kind of also bought the car because of that. So what ended up happening was he did all this, right? But the company, Onvo, has an internal policy that if you buy an employee car, if you're an employee and you buy a car, you cannot list or sell the car within 6 months of buying the car, because that's kind of against the company rules. But so he got exposed. So people found out that he was doing this, and then basically he got a slap on the wrist, so to speak, and that should be the end of it, right? But then apparently he didn't get fired. He voluntarily quit, probably due to, like, I don't know, I guess shame. He was ashamed, and then he quit. And then after he quit, he started doing all this sort of to take revenge on Onvo. So he's doing this kind of shit where he's taking the Onvo car with that big white banner that says, like, oh, the company forces you to buy the car and then they fire you. So there's lots of things that aren't true about that statement that he said. First of all, the company never forced him to buy the car. They just strongly hinted and incentivized employees to buy the car. And then number two, he never got fired. He left on his own will, probably due to shame or stuff like that. So you have this situation where if you don't dive deep into the situation of what's happening, it kind of looks really, really bad for Onvo, right? It does kind of look bad for Onvo, but that's not the truth, right? So it is exposed, right? And people that just look at the surface of the situation are kind of mad at Onvo and kind of like, they have a bad impression of Onvo. But if you look deeper, and of course, DCAR did the right thing of reporting the whole situation of what's happening, why this employee was pissed off and that kind of stuff. And then, of course, DCAR also investigated. So the story that DCAR is reporting to everybody is that this is an employee who claims all these things, and then the actual situation is that he did something that went against company rules. Now, the sales rep claims that he never went against the company rules because he never had any intention of actually selling the car, and he didn't actually sell the car. He still owns that Onvo L60. But he is very pissed off that, he got pressured into buying the car, or so he claims, and then he's sort of not working for the company anymore. And man, and then he's taking advantage of the fact that he used to be a former sales rep, and I guess that gives him a little bit of credibility. And then he does all this hocus pocus BS. So that is what's going on here in China. We got that Onvo protest from a disgruntled employee, so to speak, and in reality, it's not really it's not really what he says it is. So I really hope that employee can somehow, I guess if you're not with the company, you can probably sell the car. Like, he should just sell the car and be over with it. But he's clearly pissed off, and he's vindictive, and he's trying to take revenge against Onvo. So we can see why that's happening. But personally, I think, man, Jesus, there's so many of these scandals going on. And it was a while ago that there was that other scandal which reported that Onvo was forcing employees to buy their car, and then now he's reinvigorating this this scandal again by claiming that he was one of the victims of that. So a lot of BS, guys. I mean, like, damn. They gotta like somehow get the situation under control, man. Yeah, not let this kind of stuff happen. This is quite upsetting, to be honest. Okay, and I really hope Onvo sells well. I really hope NIO sells well. They got to get those numbers up, man. They got to get those numbers up. But that's the situation that's going on here in China. All right. Very interesting. Scandalous. Scandalous, man. And people are vindictive. They like to take revenge. My God. Crazy, right? Crazy. As always, stay safe, stay healthy. Peace out.